We have breaking news from the Attack Action Network. Coming to you live from Volcor, we have Taylor on the scene.
I'm here, guys. It's really crazy. There seems to be what we're calling an uprising here in Volcor. Do you have any quick reactions to this situation?
How many
Like
dragons?
you can use some ice out of the arsenal over there, Taylor.
How many dragons can you see right now?
There's too many to count. It's too awful. Oh no!
Hell yeah.
And the AAP will be a solo podcast from now on, since we've lost Taylor to Volcor.
Yeah, so welcome to the Attack Action Podcast Reaction Step Volcor edition. I'm still reeling from my earlier reporting, so kind of messed up the intro there. So we got some hot spoilers here, and we're going to start talking about them. So, initial thoughts, gentlemen. Let's go.
Olin, take it away.
I got one word, and that word is dragons. That's all I got. I'm super stoked for dragons. I don't know where they come from or how you use them, but they look dope. That's it. End of the episode.
I'm stoked. I'm psyched on Limited and how this is gonna play out, because they've thrown us this. Ellis is so good at just toying with our emotions. Damn it! But they've released the next, right? We have Ice Wizard, and then we know the next two characters, one of whom is a Draconic Illusionist, and we don't know what the third ninja character is. So my brain has just been humming about, are there two Draconic, one Ice? How would that work? Are there three different talents? Like, how does it keep it interested and limited and all, anyway. I can go on and on, but I'll do that later. Taylor, initial reactions.
Well, you mentioned this earlier, that I say this every set, but I've never been more excited for a set to release than this one. I mean, Monarch was cool. Tales, theme-wise, I'm just talking about the overall theme of the set. Okay. But freaking Ice Wizards in a real hot situation where there are dragons and the freaking union workers are on the most fierce strike ever. That is a storyline I can get behind. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
psych is high.
they really stepped up the lore production for this set, because Monarch hit pretty hard, and then Arya was like, we're just gonna hang out and walk to a festival. The end. That was the story,
Totally.
Which was like fine. It
Tales
was
of
a great
Arya
set.
that featured no tales of anything.
Yeah. It was like the best limited set of my life. It was great. Card wise, very interesting, but they've definitely like ramped it back up with this set in terms of getting you psyched on the story and the battle and the characters and all that.
Story-wise, Tales of Arya, those three characters are just dicks, because not only are there demons invading from the south, but Volcor is in a civil war, and they're just like, "What, bro? Everfest," like, come on.
Totally.
Just,
I mean, wasn't Oldham and Briar like asleep and they just woke up, so they don't even know what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lexi's a lifer festival chick, so can't expect anything else.
Fair enough. So we have, obviously, Icelander is now going to be in this set as an adult hero with freaking dope art and dope cards. And then just today we got two new heroes. Let me see if I can find their freaking names. Dromai and Fi.
I don't think
Or a
that's right at all.
I don't either. These are the hardest ones ever. But anyway, there's a article called Uprising, obviously, and it kind of gives us just a sneak peek. Now, I think the thing that the wool over our eyes that they're pulling is because the ninja character is maybe wreathed in flame, much like these dragons are, that he is potentially also draconic traded, but like we see in Arya, there can be like, well, I guess elemental is their trait. But maybe he has his own third trait. Colin, you pointed out that he maybe has more of a phoenix vibe going on with the flames and such.
Well, like looking at
Rather,
the Uprising box art, which also looks dope.
yeah.
It looks kind of like a dragon and a phoenix. And I mean, thematically, it would make sense if like the kind of imperial power is represented by dragons and this draconic power, then the uprising would be represented by something else. Although it might be kind of fire-ish, not totally sure, but you know, it, as you say, it could be them just being real clever and sneaky. I mean, also his in the uprising kind of like key art, it looks like him running up the steps to the palace of some sort, and it definitely has got like a phoenixy, like tattered cape that looks like flames, but also looks like feathers, kind of. So I don't know. Maybe it's 3 talents. Who cares? It's gonna be tight. Ninja players rejoice. Illusionists, everyone hates us, but we're gonna have a good time. And Icelander looks super dope. So who cares? If you don't like wizard and illusionist, you're gonna play ninja.
Totally.
Yeah,
I think this set will be really interesting. It's just like, so if they all do have different talents, how does that play out? From a limited perspective, like how does it keep it interesting when you're drafting? That's kind of like the first place my mind went. Which we'll see. I'm sure it'll be great. They've been doing great, great limited sets, but I'm just curious.
I'm also curious, and I cannot figure it out how we're going to do this with 3 heroes that don't have an overlapping kind of talent, and how there's going to be tension and decisions to be made. I'm unsure. I mean, yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll have dual cards. I don't know. But the one spoiler we have for our first mention of the draconic talent, it is an attack that has an ability from the graveyard. So I wonder if our new ninja hero, if he is Phoenix-esque is his theme, then he will have, maybe that's his whole deal, is he'll be have things more relevant in their graveyard that they can then use, which would be super dope and is definitely a design space that has been underutilized so far in the game. So I look forward to finding out if that is correct or not.
Yeah, totally. That card looks really cool. It is called Thaw. It's a red majestic, cost 2, hits for 6, which was probably a good sign that Illusionist was coming, although I think our minds went to Brute first. Blocks for 2, and then says, while Thaw is in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may banish it and choose one. And then you have a choice of destroy target Frostbite, destroy target Ice Affliction, unfreeze target Frozen card. Which is interesting that it's like a majestic that's totally for, ice, the ice matchup. It was very interesting. It's like, it's not even like a guesswork situation of like, where is this going to be useful? It's like, no, it's useful against anybody who's going to play the ice against you.
Yep. I thought that was really interesting because having a majestic that, obviously you could play it against like Oldhim or Lexi or whatever in constructed, but it's like kind of seems to be for limited play. But at majestic rarity is, pretty interesting. But maybe it's just, Just a very powerful toolbox card for when there's too much ice in the meta.
I feel like Majestics generally aren't the best in limited. So maybe they're trying to like make something that is rare but powerful and limited and kind of more focused sideboard card and constructed. But
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's still a 6 power attack, and in limited, those are really good. I think people forget that just like attacking for 6, or just like if your card has more damage on it in the limited format, it is still a good card because it does so much damage, and you have usually a lot of cards that block for 2.
I did notice that this card also blocks for 2, which I didn't realize right away. A lot of Majestics kind of block for 3, so that kind of surprised me.
I feel like the graveyard, the having an ability that you just like activate because you've either blocked with it or played it is like, it's probably worth the one, extra damage you might take from it.
And then the question is also like, are there going to be multiple cards that have that same timing window? So are you going to be like setting up your graveyard on a turn where you maybe don't do as much on the board, but on your next turn, you're just going to have this like, 3-card combo that you're at the beginning of your action phase, you get to like banish these cards from your graveyard and have these effects. That would be pretty crazy.
Or you like pile them up so that you, on one turn, you can just like power through all the ice effects and have your big power play.
Yeah. Because the ice effects we have seen in our Icelander's Journey secret spoiler, like article week of awesome shit that LSS just, sprang on us.
Surprise, yeah.
Just like, surprise, we're starting spoiler season. You didn't even know it. Like, there's some like really interesting stuff going on. We have a whole new kind of aura, the Affliction aura, which is just a dope name.
Yeah, hexes. I love hexes.
Totally, yeah. So, the idea being that it's an aura that you place under your opponent's control. Frost Hex being probably the coolest one, where frostbites you control have at the beginning of your end phase, this deals 1 arcane damage to you, which is just super tight. And it sets my brain on fire in a cool way.
Nice. I see what you did there.
Uprising. Slam.
Yeah, I mean, Afflictions, super cool. I would love it too if, I don't know, we get whatever the opposite of an affliction is, maybe a blessing. They have also auras that like, I don't know, maybe Guardian already has that. I'm just pretty excited for passing over these super dope cards to your opponent and just be like,
Totally. You already feel like a dick when you hand them a frostbite because you're like, I have to do this because the card says,
So this is gonna be great. This is the ultimate tilting situation.
I will point out as an ice player that all of these Icelander ice, spoiled cards are like really powerful and really cool and really impressive. And I love that they're all blue. But very few of them do like any significant amount of damage. So you still have to like win the game, right? So I'm like interested to see the balance that it's going to be between like, disrupting your opponent's turn and like maybe making them waste some of their powerful cards by being like unable to capitalize on them because of your disruption. But then, like I said, you also have to like kill them. So we'll see how that plays out.
Totally. And these ice actions are like pretty interesting for Lexi and Oldhim as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is really cool to see those two. Probably Ice Lexi more than Oldhim because Oldhim's so slow and control-y, but the possibilities that they kind of bring is really cool. I think.
Yeah,
What's the other-
definitely.
Cold Snap is the other one. That one's
Cold Snap, yeah. And I really like how this is just like a red and blue themed set, basically. Like Icelander wants to play blue cards, and then if we kind of flip back over to the whole dragon situation, Dracana Optimi, my favorite transformer and my favorite dragon. Actually, probably Purple Dragon is my favorite, but who knows? Anyway, this dragon, their text references red cards revealed, so that then the illusionist is going to be maybe more of a red line heavy deck. It also has the potential to somehow do 6 arcane damage and 6 physical damage, which I feel like is pretty wild. But then it also doesn't have an attack. So, okay, I'll just read the card. Dracana Optimi is a draconic illusionist dragon ally. Coolest thing. Always wanted a dragon ally. Attacks for 6, has 6 health, and it reads, whenever Dracana attacks a hero, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. He deals arcane damage equal to twice the number of red cards revealed this way to them or an ally they control, which is pretty nuts.
I feel like the ninja is. There's got to be someone else with allies too, because like you wouldn't. I don't know.
I mean, the mirror, right?
I guess the mirror, yeah, but
Yeah,
everybody gets allies. It'd be so dope.
that would be cool. Yeah, so, but it does not say attack action or action attack. So, I mean, somehow this dragon is going to be able to attack. Also, if you need to know how badass this dragon is, just notice in the artwork, it is crushing a puny, wimpy dragon with its claws as it breathes fire down upon everybody. So just in case you were wondering, like, my dragon's bigger, it is not. Dragon is not bigger.
Also,
I was assuming. Well, really quick, I was just assuming that the dragon just can't attack like the previous allies we've seen. They just didn't print attack on them because it clearly has a 6 power attack, and maybe that's just the way allies function. Which I could be wrong, but I was just assuming that.
I think it might be a weapon situation. Like her weapon can activate allies or something, which would be super dope. I was gonna say something.
In the art, she is holding a little dragon and her large dragon.
Well, it's kind of a little dragon she maybe has conjured, it kind of looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Just freaking sweet. Also, is she the dragon? I don't know. It's very cool.
Is she the dragon? Yeah. The the dragon allies. I mean, we have to assume, since the Uprising world premiere art shows 3 dragons and the lore talks about the 3 dragons of Volcor. I think that's what it says, right? No, it just says conjure the legendary dragons, but plural of Volcor.
Plural.
So, like, are they all majestic? Is one like a common dragon? Is one a legendary dragon? Is it a fabled dragon? These are the questions we need answers for, and that I'm excited to find out about.
Yeah, now please, can we get these questions answered?
Yep. I mean, but he has to be able to attack, right? Because his ability only triggers when he attacks. So I think it's just about how that works. I mean, I would assume it'd be a weapon, but then it would have to be worded in such a way that, unless her illusions are all like allies or some crazy shit like that, rather than like, oh, that was what I was gonna say. This draconic illusionist dragon ally is not a Spectra or like a phantasm. Like it's like a real thing that you have to deal 6 damage to kill. Like that's fucking crazy.
Really? So that also begs the question, what makes an illusionist, right? Like we've seen with multiple heroes for different classes, what truly is the like heart of that class. Like for brutes, you weren't really sure, but now it's definitely power. It's sixers, right? Powerful cards. So for illusionist, it could still be illusions, right? Like cards that can be popped, but that remains to be seen. It could be making auras. I don't know, but the rules dictating, like exactly what ties a class together have been like fairly specific. Like wizards are instant speed and arcane damage.
So which prism cards are illusionist cards and which ones are light illusionist cards? Are all the Spectra cards light illusionist, or are those new blue auras also?
The new
Spectras
blue
as
ones
well?
are Spectras and regular illusionist.
Also spears Brittany, as Mitch says, and like Enigma Chimera and all those can also
Yeah.
be popped.
Yeah. Okay.
Phantasmaclasm, yeah. So I mean, I think this is like a special thing tied to the draconic talent. Having a dragon ally is pretty unique. So I don't know. I think that's where it's going to be like, that's where like the draconic illusionist is different. But I feel like when we see more of the regular new illusionist stuff, it should probably fall more in line with Phantasm and being kind of over the curve a bit, but also able to be popped pretty easily.
So what's also interesting about this card is it's a majestic and it has no pitch value or cost. So it's not a token, but is something you can open in a pack, how you use in your deck. Does that make sense? So like, how do you then play it if it has no cost and is not in action? So you have to like, I get, obviously you have to summon it somehow through some means, but how does that work when you open the booster pack and your rare or up slot is a card that like you could draft but don't have the card to make it a reality? You see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, like so with the other allies, you'd have to open a legendary card in order to summon your token ally.
Right, but those were tokens.
Right. But you have to have the legendary card, right? So maybe now this dragon is a majestic, but the way to summon it is more common. Because it would be weird if the way to summon it and the dragon were like majestic or higher, because then that would kind of never happen, So yeah,
Right.
that is a really good question. How do you, and if you don't open this dragon, her weapon or whatever still has to like function normally, or whatever card summons it, right? Can't just be dead, especially if it's really common or integral to the deck.
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, it could be her hero ability also. We could be doing like Rise of the Phoenix Born situation where you have a whole separate deck of summons or something like that. And some of the tokens in this set are summoned cards or something, I don't know. Or allies that you can then get from your like separate out of the arena zone. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm really liking the Phoenix. The Uprising, the Peasant Rebellion is the Phoenix, the Dragon is the Emperor, Dynasty. And I can't decide if Eastlander is like in trouble because she's in the land of fire, or if they're all in trouble because she has ice, you know?
Yeah, is she Gandalf in this situation, or
Yeah.
who?
It's like she showed up as Gandalf the Grey, and then she's turning into Gandalf the White mid draft.
Nice.
You know, fuck everybody up. Yeah, I mean, it's really. I hadn't thought about the fact that it is a majestic and basically it's a token. So like, you know, we'll have to see how you summon it, and then whether or not you just hate draft this card every single time to keep it out of the Draconic Illusionist deck. Because
I mean, it's like 12 damage
Yeah.
if it's easy to pull off, if it's somehow on the board and you can do it, because
Yeah, I don't want to play against that.
I feel like it'll probably. I mean, it can't be that easy to summon. Like the other allies you summon, it's like, you know, what is it? Plasma Fed. You have to have a bunch of blood debt, and then
Yeah. 6
Ursa,
blood debt
you
in
have
your
to play
banish zone.
6 blood debt cards in one turn. Like
yep.
those are very difficult things to pull off. So I feel like it's probably going to be something that is not super easy to do. So maybe it's like kind of a dead card in draft and more just super cool in general. I don't know. We'll have to see. There's too many questions left.
I mean, speaking of super cool, we now have a new rarity in the sets called Marvel cards, where they have a totally different template that they are printed on. And who knows how often those will show up. So Dracana is one of those that you can pull out of a pack.
I
which
hope
is like,
it's cold foil. That'll be so tight.
Yeah.
If it's cold foil.
yeah, it's like a full art borderless card that has like a different border around the text box. Is pretty sick.
Yeah,
I
it's like full art that they gave like special attention to each card, you know?
Yeah. And it's such a sick card, even Regos, that I can't imagine what opening the Marvel version of it is going to be. It's going to be insane.
Totally.
Just
Oof. This
Yeah.
whole set looks great. I'm really excited. I hope they do some more spoilers before June 4th, but it looks like that's when the next article goes live, or the card gallery goes live for Uprising. So we have a bit of time to just stew in.
Well, they might do spoilers up until then, right?
Usually the card gallery opens with the spoiler season.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
that's
So
like a
just
couple
teasing
weeks.
us.
Yeah.
totally. And we have not received an official email about being a part of spoiler season yet. So either we aren't going to be a part of it, or they just haven't gone out yet. My feeling is they have not gone out yet.
Yeah, after our production values last time,
Totally.
Imagine
Better
what we
get a
could do
spoiler.
this time. Yeah.
Yeah, come on. We got to add to the Attack Action Podcast cinematic universe. Broenthia needs to have a second movie.
If you want to see all of our dogs dressed up as dragons, message LSS that we need to get a dragon spoiler.
fantastic.
That's all I'm saying. We could do
Okay.
this as a community.
Yeah, totally. 100%. That nothing I have believed in more than my dog as a dragon alongside your dogs as dragons.
We'll just CGI them together.
Speaking, well, we moved on from that anyway. No segue here, but so we also had some other lore stories that were released, right? Like one is about Islander traveling to Volcor and through some Nar, some Nar. And then we also had the first story we heard was about the light versus shadow struggle in Solana still, involving the Demonastery and Bolton and Minerva and, of course, Dorinthia. And some mysterious shadow character that got shanked but then slithered away, as shadow characters do. So how does that...
As an ice player and a shadow character.
Yeah. or wily.
Yeah.
So how does that tie into this? Or is that just reminding us that the light and shadow struggle is happening parallel to the Tales characters going on a walk to a festival and to the Volcor politics unfolding and all of this? Or does the events in the light versus shadow war have something to do with the storyline in this set? Or is it just reminding us that that is a continuous struggle, and these things that we see in Tales and Volcor are all going to kind of tie back in and, you know, come be developed and come full circle and end in some like awesome battle royale final showdown?
Or is the uprising just a consequence of the colonialization efforts of Solana to depose the antagonistic rulers of Volcor to put in place some figurehead that is sympathetic to their needs at the cost of the people of Volcor and their lives? Who knows? We'll find out.
I'm in that camp though. First true democracy where people are not treated as resources.
So this, I think the storyline is right. I mean, your theories are very good and valid, but I did my homework and did some reading. Eastlander has, I think, amnesia and
Classic.
cannot fully remember what has been happening since she has been out in the frozen wastes so long that she sees the conflict happening in Solana with the Demonastery and then remembers that there is something in Volcor that could help somehow. She's on the side of good, I believe,
Yep.
and is looking for something in Volcor and finds perhaps, you know, Shiana hasn't been really named, but we are getting pretty strong hints that Shiana is hanging out in Volcor as well.
Yep. Which is why my theory makes total sense, is because the ambassador of Solana, the shapeshifter known as Shiana, shows up in Eastlander's story, shapeshifts in front of her, gives her some kind of dope mask that lets her also shapeshift, which, like, maybe Icelander... Is it Eastlander? Iceland? I don't know.
Whatever you want, baby.
I say Icelander. I only said Eastlander because you guys did.
I just don't like how on the nose Icelander is, so I say Eastlander.
Everything they do is on the nose. It's their style. It's like,
can't take it.
Their dad humor that they like to, you know, impose on us.
Except for these two new characters. I can't even pronounce their names.
That's true. But they're going to pronounce them and you're going to realize that it's like some, you know, pun that you just didn't get right away.
Totally.
But what if, like, her mask lets her, like, do draconic shit, and it's like, you know, she can like do some like fiery stuff too. I don't know, I'm getting off topic. But so Shiana is there to get help for this thing, but instead like helps start an uprising maybe. So that's kind of where we're at. This whole light and shadow story is going to take much longer than we actually thought, because it's definitely not being solved in this set.
Yeah, which is really interesting because I thought that chapter was kind of closed when you know, the final showdown when Prism beat back the evil forces of Chain in the Great Las Vegas wasteland. And you know, I thought that Solana had prevailed and that, you know, we moved on to the Tales storyline, but turns out no.
That's why we had a party afterwards.
Yeah, we all celebrated.
It's like the fab version of what was it? Bush, mission accomplished. We did it. It's like, actually no, we won a small fight and the war is still raging on.
Totally. This whole other country is in civil war and we should help them by sending our secret agent to sow chaos.
That's right. That's how imperial powers work.
Sleeper cells.
Just look at South America. and what America's done. It's how we do things. I'm not joking.
I do like how Shiana is totally, but just to wrap back around, I do like how Shiana is involved in the stories and is an actual character instead of just kind of like a meme, you know. Maybe
I mean,
she'll
she can be
have some
both.
sweet. Maybe she'll have some
Yeah,
sweet
we all
combos
contain
later on.
multitudes. Yeah. Okay. Wow. There's just a lot. It's just so exciting, you know. The artwork is super dope. I don't know how they continue to make like crazy dope artwork. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. So if you look on Fi, his box art for his Blitz deck, there's for sure a Firebird in the background that is a part of his whole deal. So Phoenix, uh, confirmed.
Is this like a Maruvian Skies situation where you just keep switching the letters around on purpose? Because the I is definitely after the A.
Fi.
I mean the booster display also has a dragon and a phoenix. I don't know, fighting or hugging or something.
Or hugging.
Well, you don't know what's going on there.
It's true. Icelanders, they are looking for love.
So maybe it is 3 talents, but then, again, are there just a lot of generics? Like what brings the spice to the draft scenario?
Yeah. I'm very curious and very excited. And I can't believe this is all over until until probably the Pro Tour. We'll probably get a little tasty niblet there. And then not until June. I would just like it to be a continual drip until we get the set. That's what I want.
Yeah, so we don't. Anyway.
I'm sure they'll surprise us with something. They always do. Like the fact that the Blitz decks only have 2 characters. Like, what's that about? It's because Wizard's too complicated.
I bet it's just, it's kind of that. Is like, these are going to be better introductory products if we just make 2 decks to fight against each other rather than a trio, Because what deck was it? Was it the Briar deck was just like too good in the tails, like precons?
I don't know. I never played with the Briar deck.
It felt like it was. Like, I just got slapped around as Oldheim, and I'm like, shouldn't I just be able to fatigue this hero?
The Lexi deck is kind of weird because it's half lightning and half ice, and half of the arrows also. Which, so some games you just never fuse anything and nothing really lines up. And it's like fine as a precon, but I can see how, I don't know, a better deck would just mop the floor with you.
Pretty funny though too, because they're going from 4 precons to 3 precons to now 2. Soon it's just we're gonna be back to Ira. We're just gonna resell the Ira deck. Like, nah, this was actually more perfect. We just got this.
Yeah, you just buy 2 of them, pit them against each other. It'll be fine.
It's probably the better introduction. I taught someone how to play with Monarch Blitz decks last night, and it was just like, and so now your soul is this other place.
Totally. I've had that thought a lot. I'm like, this Blasphemous or Levia precon is not a good way to learn the game. There's a lot going on, and to actually understand how to play it, there's even more going on. It's just I mean, very cool character and stuff, but just to me, it didn't really translate to a precon because the only players playing those would be quite a bit newer.
Yeah, agreed.
I got distracted looking at the Icelander cards. They look so cool. Ice Eternal is just like a hair metal album cover that I would listen to.
Yeah, it's really cool. They're all really evocative. They really chose some really great art. What I'm really interested in too is obviously everybody's weapon, but Icelander's specifically, because she is for sure in her artwork like not holding the Kraken. That is a
Yep.
different staff. So who knows what that is going to do.
Good
Yep, a lot of
point. Yeah.
questions, a lot of great theory crafting. I just love this time in the game. And I'm actually kind of relieved I'm not playing in the Pro Tour, so I can just fully tinfoil hat, get weird with it over here. Over in Volcor, where the Uprising is
Totally.
happening all around me still.
It seems
Glad
like
you're-
it's calmed
glad
down
you're
a bit.
just having a blast over there. I really like Ice Bolt because the red is just basically Voltic Bolt, right? But the blue, because it's an Ice Wizard action and it's blue, you can fuse with it and then arsenal it and then play it out on their turn, which is just huge value, right? I mean,
And it gives them a frostbite.
yeah, totally. That's just seeing like this Ice Wizard, like it's basically an ice attack, which we've seen before, but that just fits so perfectly into your game plan is super cool.
Yep. And it is the first like element class card, because I think previously all we had was elemental actions, and now we have an actual ice wizard action, which is pretty cool. And I think, is that the only one? No, there was one more, right?
Well, and then like you can't run like lesson, right? Because that's a Kano specialization, but things that like affect wizard cards, like Sonic Boom or whatever, also work with this card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just having that dual specialization or dual label, whatever you call it. I'm not a judge.
Typing?
It's like a super type or a subtype. Something like that.
Which one?
It's an event.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It's an object. I know that much. Yeah. Everything is an object in this game. It's an object-oriented game at this point. So
I also can't believe we didn't talk about Cold Snap. How freaking brutal that card is. So it's a non-attack action. It's a blue, and it's an ice card. So for our Icelander, it gives them a frostbite. They have to pay, or you freeze cards in their arsenal or their ally, and you draw a card. It's like what we were doing like day one with like Polar Blast in Icelander in Blitz. You're like, Polar Blast is good, right? Because it gives a frostbite and I draw a card. And then LSS was like, yes, we have designed that card, but it's way better. And
yeah, we have like real cards for you to use.
Yeah, we have basically the love child of Winter's Bite and Polar Blast. Here it is. So good.
Reminds me of the Seeds art too, for some reason. It's very very evocative.
And it's just a common, which is bananas to me. Just straight bananas.
Totally, but it does burn a card out of your whole deck, and all it does is make a frostbite, right? Or like, and freeze a card.
But now frostbites can do damage.
They can't.
Totally. And if this one measly blue is gonna freaking freeze Optimus Prime Dragon, then it's freaking awesome.
Fair point.
It's freaking sweet. Like, that's like, I don't know. I love that. So thematic. Very underdog too. This giant dragon's out there and you're just like, Cold Snap, bro. What are you gonna do? Breathe fire? You can't. You're frozen.
You have to thaw yourself out first.
It's gonna be so much fun. I feel like this speaks to my personality because I like really enjoy, like I like DJ Talzin in Star Wars Destiny, and I like Ice Lexi. I think I just like control manipulation decks. So anyway,
DJ, Talzin, not DJ Talzin as
DJ Talzin, boy.
on the ones and twos. Yeah, no,
totally. But I mean, I'm like, am I just like a manipulative, controlling person? Is this my mode when I approach conflict? It's going to be really fun as Islander to
Yes, you are.
identify your opponent's lines correctly and like optimally, shut it down. It's gonna be great and pretty
Totally.
annoying for them.
May I offer you an affliction?
Yeah, I have. I'm not particularly a control player, but if we're gonna have control wizard or like, I don't know, taxing wizard, I'm all for it. I'm all for that for sure. So far, these are 3 heroes. I can't figure out who my favorite is.
Well, we'll see more cards, then you can decide.
Totally. I just also want them all to be on the same team,
PvE.
Then why
Oh,
would they
yeah.
be fighting each other?
I also have no idea why everybody is fighting in this game. Some people I understand. Chain and Levia can fight anybody. But why Nice Bolton has to fight Nice Dorinthia, I don't get it. I still don't understand. Or Katsu just kind of looks like pretty chill, dude. But everybody's trying to beat him up. Like, what
Yeah, I
the
wish
hell?
it was like the story and I could solve my Lexi versus Oldheim nightmare by just befriending him,
Yeah, aren't you friends?
Yeah, like,
There's
oh,
like
sorry,
a
we can't
whole-
play against each other because we've allied and it's fine. Thank God I don't have to play this matchup.
Yeah. We
I
have
wish I lived in that world.
a whole card that depicts them and their friendship. But yet you're still trying to shoot him with Frostlock or whatever,
I mean, it could
And
be
failing.
a friendly competition. It's like the Olympics, everyone's there just to like make their region proud. But they're all from the same region. I don't know. Also, like, I'm a dude with a hammer and you brought a dragon to this fight. Seems like we showed up to the different events.
I mean, that's a pretty good, synopsis of kind of what's happened a bit in the game.
I also suspect that Oldheim says something like so stupid in that scenario too, like I am from the frozen north and have stood the test of eternity. Your dragon cannot break me. Something like that. Also, we're ready to do the voiceover for the cartoon adaptation of this. Just plug and play the 3 of us into your company. We're
Or the
ready.
live action. We'll dress up also.
I call the dragon.
I'll do chain, but I'm not shaving my mustache.
Nipple piercings though.
I mean, we can add that in post.
All right.
Most
Well,
of the
with
budget
that,
will go to that.
I think we should get out of here now.
Oh man, the set is too hype.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone, for our impromptu bonus episode of the reaction step.
Yep, totally. We just dropped a episode of the podcast with owner and proprietor of Fab Foundry. So go check that out. Great dude, pillar of the community, and yeah.
Check out our affiliate link.
Totally. Yeah, there's
Support the show.
Sweet code. But you gotta go listen to the podcast to go get it. It's down
attached
below.
to this video too.
Oh, sweet. That's smart. That's why we got Colin on board. All right. Oh, God. The dragon's here. I gotta go. See you later. Goodbye.
Still dragon free up here.
Yeah.
But goodbye, everyone.
Signing off.